Thank you very much, Amanda, for the warm welcome. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm sure it's morning over there. But yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Apologies that I couldn't be with you physically, but I hope I'm able to interest you with a bit of what I have to share. So I've been introduced and I'll just go straight into the presentation and talk about the Nigerian climate change realities, which, 1 minute, sorry. Okay, so which ranges from droughts to floods to washed coastlines and a lot of other issues that are beginning to bedevil the country when it comes to climate effects. And one of the biggest that is affecting Nigeria is the agricultural practices are being reduced. And this is not just because of anything, but as much as the fact that we have a lot of tree falling happening in Nigeria. In all of this, the government is not sitting back and doing nothing. There's been a lot of strategies and policies that have been put out there to combat the climate effects and also reduce emissions. And in all of this, the government went as far as promulgating a Climate Change Act in 2021. And in that act, there's the plans to have a carbon tax, carbon trading, and to also ensure that we meet our net zero ambitions by, moving ahead with ensuring that the Climate Change Act is clear and is bringing about all of the solutions that need to be done to ensure that even though we do not emit as much as most of the developing countries, we are also contributing to a large extent to reducing the climate effects that are happening even globally. And one of the major things that Nigeria is known for is our energy situation, either on the good side, where it is that we are one of the biggest oil countries. I think the 6th on the OPEC list, at least some last year back. But the paradox of that is that Nigeria is also a very poor energy, has a huge energy poverty ratio. And so the plan is to reduce our development when it comes to oil and gas and lean further into renewable or efficient energy solutions that will bring down the net zero emissions of Nigeria. And this is planned to get it down to about 1.5 degrees centigrade. All of these policies are compatible, there's other policies alongside the climate change policies, like the Nigerian electrification policy, the clean cooking policy, and all of that. It is also all planned to ensure that we're on the right track to ensure bringing about the climate action that is needed within the country to limit that global warming and reduce the limits that we have planned to do. And there are 7 points to the Climate Change Act that are giving you like a general background on the climate change in Nigeria and the rationale for the review of the policy and how it relates to other policies in the country. And it puts Nigeria's climate change plans and our vulnerability and the impact of that also to the fore. And the vision of the act, yes, and the guiding principles for the policy. So the policy statements that would also accelerate the need for the process and implementation of the climate change mitigation initiatives. In all of these, what I'm basically trying to say is that the policy directions are quite right, and it is also preparing Nigerians and the global space for the adaptation to climate change situation when it happens. And finally, it is ensuring that it propels the country forward when in the path of ensuring climate resilience and sustainable development, which is one of the biggest things that we want to see. I work in the rural communities, and one of the major problems that we see is that there's a huge dearth of sustainable development happening in those regions. And with climate change, it also becomes a bit more difficult to, be on the right track and not change course. So what is currently happening is across the world, and even in Nigeria especially, there's a growing population economic development is fast going, and energy security is becoming a huge problem. We have one of the poorest energy situations, which I'll talk about again later. And then we're also bedeviled by the environmental degradation, with deforestation and desertification coming at us from the north, and the loss of the sea land and rise in sea levels and all of that happening from the south. So we're losing homes, we're losing land for farming, we're losing arable land for farming, we're losing space for people to actually live on. So this is all like the reasons why the government has seen it to put it on the front burner to reduce to create alternative courses of action, which is develop alternatives to fossil fuel and reduce energy consumption. As I shared earlier, millions of Nigerians suffer from energy poverty. We have over 75% of Nigerians that do not have access to reliable energy. Over this, like over 158 million people are either underserved or unserved by the energy situation in Nigeria. But then there's something we can do about it, because even at the recently completed COP 28, the landmark global energy goal was to triple the renewable energy power and double energy efficiency by 2030. And Nigeria has positioned itself well with several programs and several activities by developing the recent Electricity Act that is supporting programs like the Nigerian Energy Support Program, the Nigerian Power Sector Program, the Nigerian Electrification Project, which is now giving birth to the Distributed Access to Renewable Energy Solutions. And AFDB is also doing a multitude of programs in Nigeria, and there are also the IREX and all of that. And so I think the country is positioned to ensure that we do triple our dependence on renewable energies and actually cut out the dependence that we have on fossil fuels, which is now what is actually the biggest issue that we have. Nigerian diesel generator market is about 536.5 million in 2023, and it is actually going to keep rising. We get over 13.8 gigawatt of our energy from generators in Nigeria, and 40% of even Nigerians in rural communities that do not even have access and living in, just a little below poverty, above poverty, are dependent on fossil fuels using generators, and we are constantly losing forest land for cooking, wood for building, and all of that. So what do we do about it? Northern Nigerian states have the lowest energy access, as is in Nigeria. We do not have access to energy, but the good thing about it, again, is that we have the highest solar irradiation. And we believe at SOSE that with our values of strong experienced growth, we've sold solutions across Northern Nigeria. We've actually worked with communities to develop solutions that will ensure that they have access to reliable and impactful energy solutions. We think that we'll be able to deploy mini grids and also other solar powered solutions. The good thing about mini grids, I must say here, is that it is an all over community solution that does not just give access to electricity for lighting, it also gives access to electricity for the cottage industries that will be in the community that will hitherto been using generators. And using generators would have meant that they would have been emitting, at least if they were using say diesel or petrol for powering the generators, they will be emitting 27 kilograms of CO2 to the atmosphere. And if you can calculate the amount of emissions that will mean, it will be like, if we're talking about, SOSE is currently working in 3 states that USTD did a feasibility study on for us, where we are supposed to develop sustainable mini grids for energy access and climate impact. And this 64 communities in these 3 states in Northern Nigeria, if we deploy these solutions and they have mini grids in their communities that's powering both PUEs, cottage industries, public utilities, and all of that, we'll be saving, each community will be saving about 650 tons of CO2 per annum. And so you can imagine how much that will mean if we had to cover the whole country with the same solutions of the sustainable mini grids across them, and then extrapolating that to African countries as well. So these are some of the projects that we have done in Northern Nigeria. solar powered, mini grid solar powered rooftop systems for homes. And we believe that this is the way to go, because for the large homes who were using, say, a 50 kilowatt generating set, and we now replace it with a solar solution, we're saving at least 20,000 tons of CO2 per annum in that household. So how many households are using, with the kind of dependence that we have in Nigeria on generators and fossil fuels? If we're able to take that out of the system and deploy solar solutions, then that will mean a lot when it comes to reducing climate effects and improving the situation of the world, of the global, the situation of climate change globally. Thank you very much.